This is a tutorial on how to get from Autodesk Inventor to Tinkerine software so you can 3D print. To start with, here's my completed object that we want to export out to the Tinkerine software. To do this, we need to go to the application menu, down to export, and from export, CAD format. Under CAD format, you have to change here to STL, stereolithography file. That is the generic file type to get to an SD printer. Okay. What I do then is hit options. And in here, you got to make sure that your format's right. So under units, make sure it's millimeters. The Tinkerine software works in millimeters, so this will automatically convert whatever you've done in Inventor to millimeters. So there's that. The resolution, we can just leave it at medium. This just gives you a better resolution, but if it's a simple object, it doesn't really matter. We can leave it at medium or low. Okay, and then the rest of these things we can play with at a later date. Click on OK. And then basically all we have to do is hit save. It's going to replace it because I've done this before, and I'll hit yes. Okay. Then what I do is move into the Tinkerine software, which is right here, and I go import. And from import, there's my dice right there. You can see the date that I'm doing this at and what time. We click on it, we hit open, and we bring in the dice. Okay, a couple things here. If the dice comes in on an angle, I can use my right mouse button. You can see it's not flat, this surface here. So what I can do is I can click down here and go lay flat, and what I should do is lay it flat. When I go underneath with my right mouse button being held down, you can see it's laying flat. Okay, that's first thing. Second thing is this is scaled 1:1, but for this demo what I'm going to do is I could make this smaller, so I could say, oh geez, I only want this to be 50% of the size. Oops, and I can just go 50. Okay, and now it's only half the size, and you can see here it shows that it's actually done half the scale. Okay, so that's the first thing. We can always rotate it like this, and all I'm doing is grabbing my left mouse button right now. I can grab the center. Whoops, that's actually scale. Okay, we'll put that one back to 50. Okay, so and then basically we can go from the top, and we can center it if we want, and you can see the duplicate it and make a second one, reset it, and things like that. Okay, so the settings now. Up here, resolution. If I click on it, you can see there's a low, medium, high, ultra. Okay, a lot of times if you're just making something, just keep it as low because you'll see how long it takes in a second to actually 3D print something. Infill is either hollow, 0%, sparse, or dense. Okay, for this it's just a dice. We're going to leave it as hollow. Okay, walls is how many times around the outside it goes before it actually infills. So we're just going to leave it at 2. Supports are basically needed for if something's hanging out of this dice off to the side, the 3D printer can't put print in space. So what you do is you add supports to build up to support it, but we don't need supports, so they're off. The filament's 175. Speed we're going to leave. Temperature we're going to leave. And we're going to hit slice. Okay. Now when it slices, it shows you how it's going to build. And down here is the important part. It's going to take 23 minutes to do this, and it's going to use 7 grams of filament. And I can actually take this and actually see how it's going to build as we go up. Right? Now, if I go back to the resolution, let me just go edit this, and I change this resolution to ultra, and then I change this infill to dense, and now I reslice it. See, it takes a bit longer, and it'll still build it up. Okay, but down here is what's the important part. Is basically it's going to take 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's still going to use the same amount of filament, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it's going to take a heck of a lot longer. Okay, so this might be a bit out because it shouldn't take the same amount of filament. Anyways, that is basically the differences between when you have a higher resolution, a lower resolution. So we're going to edit it, put it back to low. Okay, keep this as hollow for right now. The rest is the same. Slice it. There's my preview, and then all I can do is if I had an SD card, I'd go save for print. I'm either saving it to the computer, and then I can put it on SD card later, or if I had an SD card in my computer right now, it would just simply save to the SD card. And the name that it's going to save it to is whatever you've imported it as. So when we imported it, it said dice. Okay, I'd like you to import it with your name on it. But that basically completes how to get it from Inventor to the Tinkerine software. And that is it.